So Blitz is you get on the phone, you make a bunch of calls to complete strangers, and you try to book an appointment. And that's how you start the conversation. It's how you start the sales process. It's how you go out and find new business. It's called a blitz, and meaning it's a lot of activity in a short amount of time. And I used to run these blitz days, and my boss was out in Austin, Texas. I'm in Seattle. He doesn't know what I'm doing, nor does he care as long as I hit the numbers. And he called out of the blue and said, "What is going on in the Northwest? Your numbers are off the charts compared to all the other regions across the country." And I said, "I'm running these blitzes." And I just explained it.
This is Conversations with Women in Sales, an award-winning podcast launched by Barbara Giamacco and now hosted by Lori Richardson. Listen to interviews with amazing women about their journeys in their sales careers, often discussing sales leadership tips, ideas, and strategies. We aim to inspire women to consider or continue a sales career, and for some women to grow into sales leadership. Men, we need your support and appreciate your allyship. Now here's our host, Lori Richardson.
This episode is sponsored by RapidScale. At RapidScale, exceptional technology is powered by exceptional people. As a growing leader in secure, reliable, managed cloud solutions, we help businesses simplify IT and unleash innovation. With a broad portfolio spanning AWS, Azure, and Google to a full set of private cloud and cybersecurity solutions, RapidScale helps companies turn technology into their biggest competitive advantage. And we're hiring cloud sales professionals to join our team. As part of the Cox family of companies, we offer best-in-class benefits, a commitment to work-life balance, an award-winning workplace experience, and top-notch rewards and recognition for our sales teams. Connect to work that improves lives, including yours. To learn more, visit rapidscalegojobs.com today.
I'm here today with an old friend of mine, Andrea Sittig-Rolf. Andrea is Chief Blitzmaster, and she's CEO of Blitzmasters. Andrea, how are you? It's been a while since we've chatted.
I'm doing well, and I have to say you're one of the few people that actually pronounces my name perfectly. No corrections needed.
Probably because I've known you forever, it seems.
Yes, I did a keynote in southern, Dakota or North Dakota, and I was introduced from stage as Andrea Sittig-Rolf.
Oh, no.
That could be an American Indian name. So it was apropos for the event, but I had to correct the.
That's funny. The cool thing is that you're one of the few people I know, maybe the only person, I don't know, I have to think about it, who you launched your business around the same time I launched my business. And that was like 20 some years ago.
23. Yeah.
And I remember us having coffee in the east side of Seattle, and you were showing me your book cover, I think, or you were talking about it. And I don't know if your book came out right after you launched your business or how all that worked, but here's what I remember.
Yeah.
When we met up, you already had your business started, and you had this book that you were going to publish, and you were on the cover, and you said that your publisher thought that wasn't a good idea, that they wanted you to not be on the cover, and you basically said, "I'm going to be on the cover." I remember. Isn't that right? Do I remember correctly?
Yeah.
And you sure enough were. You were on that cover. And I just wish we had updated versions now, because I could be selling those all day long. But that's one of the things we're going to talk about, because Andrea has a very special niche. She's focused on prospecting and having I'll let you explain about the Blitz. But why don't you tell us a little bit? And also, you started did you have a telecommunications sales job and you were just making your boss too much money?
Yeah, pretty much. So the way that the company started back in 2002 was that I was a regional sales manager for a data cabling company. And it was a regional company with lots of locations around the country. And I was in charge of the Northwest, so Seattle and Portland mainly. And I was running these Blitz days just because I knew that was what we needed to fill the pipeline and find new business, and I would get the vendors involved. It was this fun, high energy day.
So for people that don't know, to just explain a little more about what a Blitz day is.
So Blitz is you get on the phone, you make a bunch of calls to complete strangers, and you try to book an appointment. And that's how you start the conversation. It's how you start the sales process. It's how you go out and find new business. It's called a blitz, and meaning it's a lot of activity in a short amount of time. And I used to run these blitz days, and my boss was out in Austin, Texas. I'm in Seattle. He doesn't know what I'm doing, nor does he care as long as I hit the numbers. And he called out of the blue and said, "What is going on in the Northwest? Your numbers are off the charts compared to all the other regions across the country." And I'm running these blitzes. And I just explained it. And he said, "Keep up the good work. I can see the results in the bottom line." And we hung up, and I thought, why would I keep up the good work for this guy? This could be a business. I could do this full time. So my next call was to my then fiance. I called and I said, "I quit my job. I'm going to do this blitz thing full time." And he's, "What's a blitz? And by the way, you can't quit your job. We're getting married and buying a house. Are you out of your mind?" And I was like, this is such a good idea. Anybody in sales needs help booking appointments. This is the really hard part. And so here we are 23 years later, and he no longer has to work thanks to Blitzmasters. So it
And
turned
you have
out to be
a
a
couple
pretty
of
good decision.
lovely homes in the Northwest and here in Arizona. Yeah,
California. Yeah.
Oh, California. You're right.
That's
It's
La
nearby.
Quinta.
It's different.
Nearby. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's so interesting to me and for everybody that's listening is that Andrea has kept the focus on the top of the funnel, on prospecting. Although she could do every other part of building the business, and she has for her own company, obviously, the fact that you focused on the blitzes and you worked with a certain set of clients, right?
Yeah.
The channel.
The channel. So that was 3 or 4 years into the business. When it started, it was like, if you could fog up a mirror, if you had a pulse, like, you're a prospect, let's have a conversation. And it was all just local in Seattle.
Right.
Then I landed HP as a client about the 3rd, 4th year in, and I learned about these magic beans I know you know about called MDF, Market Development Funds. They've got to spend them every quarter and they have to prove ROI. And so I did my first blitz with them with a partner, and then got on a call, a big team call. And that manager said to all of the partner business managers across the country, "I want each of you to do 3 of these in your territory." And like that, I had 8 blitzes. Now, it meant I was traveling. I had to travel all around to do them. But I thought I would rather do that. I would rather travel and have a lot of business than be local and not have a lot of business. So it was the channel that was the game changer for me.
Yeah. And although some terminology has changed, names of roles have changed, different mediums are out, but prospecting hasn't changed a whole lot, has it? Do you think?
No, not really. And the thing I thought about in having all these tech giants as clients is, over time, is this idea of picking up the phone and calling someone going to become obsolete? Because now we had cloud, now we have AI, and it's all this fancy tech. And what we say is a sale doesn't happen until a salesperson talks to a decision maker. So you can do all the tech you want and all the online marketing you want, but until you talk to a decision maker, you're not going to sell anything, especially in the enterprise world. That's different for transactional sales. You can order ink cartridges online, but you're not going to sell $1 million storage project by not talking to someone.
So that's so interesting because people are always talking about sales has changed and this is different and it's nothing. It used to be easy when it was totally different, but it's always been like that as you're characterizing it. And I agree. What do you think are a couple things that you've learned over the years, or maybe something that surprised you about this crazy business to business selling industry that we're in? You're more focused on tech and the channel. Anything that you've noticed or find interesting?
For me personally, I had no idea that this little business that I started would be as successful as it's been. This concept to me was, it's a concept that's been around for a long time. I didn't invent it. Blitzes have been around a long time. I just built a better mousetrap, if you will. I put some skills around it, wrote a book about it, put some structure around it. Part of it is that when I started, it was just me doing everything. And I just thought that's how it's always going to be. But then as demand started to increase, I thought I could teach other people how to do this. I could teach another person how to be a Blitzmaster. And so then I started to scale. It was like, oh, if somebody else is doing blitzes, then I can focus on selling. And instead of having this up and down feast or famine kind of thing that I was having before, now I can have this steady stream of income because I'm selling and someone else is delivering. And I'll tell you the other brilliant thing I did. I hired people that are better than I ever was at being a Blitzmaster. That's not me being humble. It's true. I have 4 Blitzmasters that are phenomenal. They are so good at what they do. They are so much fun and so smart and so confident. They tell these great stories. And I'm okay. Like, I would get up there and I was okay. But these people are phenomenal. And the place where I shine is in the rainmaking. That's finding the new business, developing the relationships. That's the part I love.
Yeah.
And then handing it off to someone.
So what makes a good sales rep when a blitz is going on? What is it a matter of just doing what they're told?
Yes, that's a lot of it. And just to be fearless. And we get the pushback. We get the skepticism, especially from the veteran reps who don't think they need it. And we have this formula. We have the magic formula, and people are skeptical. We say, look, just do what we ask you to do. You'll be really surprised how well these techniques work. But you're going to get out of it what you put into it. So you have to put in the effort to get the results.
And so has the technique changed over time? I'm not going to ask for all the secret sauce, but have you changed it over time?
A little bit. During COVID, we definitely had to change some of the scripts and some of the techniques. That 3 years was the best that my business has ever done. I think we were one of those businesses that actually benefited not in spite of COVID, but because of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had to and I wrote an article then called Prospecting in a Pandemic, because it was different then.
Yeah.
And so we've tried, and actually it's my Blitzmasters who report back to me. They are the ones that are in the field working with the sales reps, coaching them, running the blitzes. They'll come back to me and say, this part of your book, we need to change this. This isn't relevant anymore. This is really old school. And it's good. I appreciate that feedback. So we've had several iterations of the original book to try to keep up with the times, but the fundamentals haven't really changed.
Yeah, I think the book is still valid. Generally, I haven't seen it in a bit, but I have it here. I
Yeah.
have it here with all my book.
Yeah.
And that's a funny thing. And I think it's important for people who are listening. You don't have to, there's no magic formula. There's no new thing that no one's done before yet in sales that if you just figure that out, you'll be better at it. It's really basics, the fundamentals. And then I see it all the time where the clients, the salespeople are just not connecting enough with people. They're not talking to their buyers enough. And at the right times, of course, timing is everything. And so if people just did more follow-up and, of course, had the right buyers and the right messaging, that's important too. Do you help companies with messaging?
A little bit. We have a formula, and then we work with the client to say, what is your value proposition? And then we plug in their value proposition. We can take 15,000 pages of marketing speak and then get it into a 15-second. So how do you solve a problem? How do you create a business outcome? And you're creating curiosity. You're not going into a whole lot of detail. The whole point is to book the appointment. And that's probably the biggest paradigm shift that we see when working with salespeople. The reason a lot of them don't do well when they're prospecting is they start selling. The minute somebody picks up the phone, they start selling and they get hung up on. So we're going to say, look, just book the appointment. You'll have plenty of time to sell. It's easier for you. It's easier for the prospect. They're right in the middle of something. They appreciate you're not going to take much of their time. You just want to book the meeting.
Yeah.
So they always feel a little bit relieved, like, oh, I don't have to sell anything today. I'm just going to book a meeting.
Yeah. So it's part of the process and they're building trust over time, right?
Yeah. And the relationships are so important. What I found in my own business is that if you just focus on the relationship and don't make it that every time you reach out to someone, you're trying to sell them, you're trying to close them, you're asking for the order. Just get to know your buyers, develop those relationships. And when you see something in the news you think they might be interested in, or a new TV show, or just random stuff because you've taken the time to listen to them and what they're interested in, and you say, hey, I saw this the other day, made me think of you. You're not trying to sell them anything in that moment. You're just, but it all also has to be authentic. I say this, it's not meant to be inauthentic. You want it to be authentic. And if you genuinely love people the way you and I do, then it is authentic because we just love people. And that's a big part of it.
Yeah. And it reminds me, I was on a call earlier today with someone who was going to do an event in LA the week that the fires ended up going crazy.
Oh,
So obviously it was canceled and they want to reschedule it. And they were saying, I'm just not sure when to call, like when to talk about that again. And I said, why not talk to them about what they need now? Forget the event, because that'll happen later after They have to get all survive. They have to make sure everybody has a home to go home to.
Right.
The
Yeah.
kids are okay, and that's what I would focus on. But that's part of the building relationships, rapport building that we do at the top of the funnel, right?
Yeah. And a lot of it's a long game too. One of the things that I do is a side hustle that I don't get paid for, but I love doing it, is I try to help people find a job. Like I'll look through LinkedIn and there's lots of folks. I have over 20,000 followers on LinkedIn. And so there's a lot of people looking for a job. And then I have clients looking for good talent. So I become that bridge. And and then those people remember that a year later, they're
Right.
the company and you were so kind and thank you for helping me. And then they want to, let's work together. But again, that's not why I do it. I genuinely want to help people. But
That's
know.
so true. I know that when someone gets downsized or something happens, it seems like nobody wants to talk to them. All of a sudden, they're not associated with that big brand anymore, and that's the time to help people out. Maybe it's a long game, but also it's just helpful. People need it then. They don't need it when they're with big brand USA. That's great. So, what advice do you have for? This podcast is for women who are in sales or thinking about getting into business to business selling. And it's still very much a male focused world. And not everyone is in for that. But a lot of us, like you and I, we've done well in that environment. Do you have any advice?
I can't imagine doing anything other than sales because it is such a people business. And the thing that I love about it is it's a way that I'm just going to be really honest. You can make a whole lot of money without having an advanced degree. You don't even need a college degree. And if you're good at sales, if you're good with people, if you're a good listener, you can make a really good living in sales. Now, the thing it was important to me, even before I got into my own business, was I could only sell something that I genuinely believed in and was passionate about. I sold voicemail when it first came out. Nobody knew what it was. And I would do these demos, and I sold phone systems. That was okay. I wouldn't sell alcohol. I wouldn't sell cigarettes. I'm not going to go out or a crappy product. I wanted to do something that I'm really passionate about, and that comes across. So, and that's what the other thing that's neat about sales is that it translates to 1,000 industries. Like just pick an industry you're interested in and go sell in that industry.
Yeah. So if you're in a healthcare, like you could be very niche, just like you've been niched with the channel. And channel is mostly tech companies. Now everybody's really a tech company, even if you're manufacturing, because tech is so involved in everything that we do now. Have you ever had a prospect that wanted a blitz that you thought their products were icky, or do you ever turn anybody down?
Yeah, for different reasons. I've had people where I just said, I don't think this is a fit. This is another thing, and you can decide if you want to keep this or not. But I had a situation with a man who was a bully.
Yeah.
And over the course of many years, every time we talked, he would do something to degrade me in front of other people.
Wow.
And finally, third time, straw that broke the camel's back, we got off the phone, and then he followed up. And what was funny is I just said to my husband, I'm not working with this guy again. And he gave me a hard time. So it was a pretty significant. So I had to say a few choice words to my husband, like, where's the line? What if he calls me the C word? Is that okay? What do I have to put up with? Because it's money. And so then he got it. He's okay. I understand. So the guy reached out. So I'd already decided I wasn't going to do business with him.
Yeah.
So about a week later, he emails me, this customer emails me, prospect emails me and says, we'd like to move forward, but with 2 blitzes, but we only want to pay X. And it was like a 35% discount off of my thing.
Really?
I just hit delete.
Yeah.
I didn't even respond. And I haven't heard from him since. And I thought, if he calls me, I'm going to just say it. I just don't think it's a fit. And even if he asks me why, I was just going to repeat, I just don't think it's a fit. Because he was a nightmare to try to deal with, and I wasn't going to be treated like that. We teach people how to treat us, and it's hard to walk away from. I'm lucky that I can do that. In the beginning, maybe I would have put up with it. I don't know, but that was just, I was like, I'm too old. But
You're not. Yeah, and we're in that situation. I know there are younger women who are getting hit on.
Yeah.
And just, I talked to a woman, probably, it was more than a year ago, but she just said, I didn't even know what to say. I didn't even know what to do. And so I think helping those that are up and coming to know how to deal with situations like that, just to be like, excuse me,
Yeah.
did I hear that right? Or
Did you really just say that?
even
You
just to
can't
say,
go-
can you repeat that?
Yeah.
It will often make them think twice about being
Yeah.
more self-conscious about what they're saying. And
You just go, really?
but yeah, I know it's amazing, but yeah, there's definitely huge opportunity. The other thing that I love about sales so much is that it's very black and white. It's ones and zeros. You either get your number or you don't. It's not vague. Are you doing a good job
Right.
or not? You're hired to do sales. If the value prop's right and the messaging's right and the product and service is good and you have good leadership, you're selling, right?
Yeah. Sky's the
If
limit.
not- yeah, if not, you got to investigate what that is. And I like that. It's not, there's no person in a corner office, even when I was in sales, that would say, I don't know if you're doing your job. I'm doing my job. Look at the leaderboard. Number 2 up there.
Yeah.
So that's another good thing. And then just the flexibility of it. Now, so much is virtual in business, but it wasn't when I was in sales, and you had to show up 5 days a week.
Oh, yeah. Your suit, your pantyhose, and the rest of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And even then, when I had a young child, I was able to take off and take him to sports and where he had to go and go to the PTA and then go back to work. But even then it worked. It was flexible. Now it's much easier to figure out a way to have a virtual role and do sales. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're hitting your number, your boss is going to leave you alone and probably let you do whatever you want. That's what I would do if I had a team of salespeople. I'd be like, as long as you're hitting your number, I don't care how you do it or when you do it.
Yeah, which is wonderful. It is a good thing. So what keeps you motivated, or what do you read or listen to? Do you have any recommendations for a book or a podcast or a video or
I don't. I watch true crime in my off time. That's my other
that's
thing.
great.
I'm obsessed with true crime. So I'm very guilty of not furthering my brain in that area in terms of reading books and listening to podcasts. It's all about true crime. That's my.
I love that. I love that. It's good that you can compartmentalize, right? I know people that told me I can't read nonfiction after work hours, and I just dive in. I can't get enough of it. I got around here, but that's cool. That's a differentiator. That's wonderful. Any last advice for anyone that's just trying to do better at their prospecting, reaching their prospects?
Just to, and I hate to sound trite, fake it till you make it. A lot of it is just sounding confident, even if you're not. Be an actor, just act confident on the phone, even if that's uncomfortable. Smile when you're on the phone. It's impossible for your vocal cords to be strained when you smile, so that will come across. And that what will happen is that fear and that trepidation will go away over time. The more you do it, the better you'll get, just like any new habit.
Yeah.
And then it won't be this big, scary thing anymore, but really just to focus on, especially reaching out to new customers, instead of calling and selling, just book that appointment. That alone is huge. And then I have tips on voicemail and all that too. But yeah, just keeping it simple.
That's great. It's been so great catching up with you, Andrea. Andrea Sittig-Rolf. She is the Blitzmaster. And can people reach out to you on LinkedIn if they want to?
Yes, I'm Andrea the Blitzmaster on LinkedIn, and Andrea@blitzmasters.com is my email.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Andrea, and continued success. I love what you've built. It's really incredible, and I hope that more people can learn about it, because what you've done is what so many people want to do in their careers, and you've really done it. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This has been fun.
I'm your announcer, Larry Long Jr., and we sincerely thank you for listening to this episode of Conversations with Women in Sales, encouraging you to share an episode with all of your friends and your favorite male allies. Let's work together to change the face of sales. Until next time, you can find all of our episodes at womensalespros.com/podcast.